everyone, I'm Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going over the top books that I've read so far in 2019. So if you enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you're new here, I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The first two books I'm going to talk about are two of my absolute favorites, not only of this year, but definitely of all time, and those two are Scythe and Thunderhead, the sequel to Scythe. So these books are about a world that is set in our own world, but a few years into the future, not a few years, many years into the future. And this is where the artificial intelligence, so what we consider the cloud today, has become so intelligent that it comes up with a way to eliminate all natural causes of death. So no one dies of a natural death anymore. So in order to control the population, there are these few chosen people in the world who are called scythes, and they are trained in the art of taking lives. Now it sounds really dark, and it definitely gets pretty dark, but it is so fascinating. The world building is excellent. Scythe, the first book in the series, really follows these two kids who are training to become scythes, and it really evaluates kind of that morality, that line between what is right, what is wrong, our characters making some tough choices. And then the second book deals much more with the world and with what we consider the cloud today. It eventually becomes so intelligent that it's called the Thunderhead, and people are able to communicate with it. And this story goes much more into the world and how we've progressed as a society to this point. Both of these books are excellent. I can't wait to read the third book in the series. If you haven't given this one a try, highly recommend pick these two up. Another book that is one of my favorites of this year so far is How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. This one is about a girl who is in a tragic plane crash where she gets severely injured and ends up becoming paralyzed. And her boyfriend, who was in the crash with her, walks away unscathed. And it's just about her recovery process, and not only her recovering from her injury, but kind of finding herself along the way. This one's a very addictive contemporary. I loved it. I thought the characters in this were excellent. I went in not knowing really anything about it and ended up being so surprised with how emotional I got for these characters. I highly recommend this one if you're looking for something that's more contemporary, more adult. It's definitely a great summer read, so if you're needing something to take to the beach with you, definitely pick up How to Walk Away. The third book I'm going to talk about is, or I guess it's the fourth book if you count Scythe and Thunderhead as two separate books, but the fourth book I'm going to talk about is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is the sequel to Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and this one kind of picks up where we left off with the first story, and it kind of introduces some new characters into the world that I really loved. I know this one got mixed reviews. Some people really didn't think it was necessary, and while I don't think it's necessary, I think Vicious stands alone on its own very well. I just loved being back with these characters. Victor and Eli are back, Sydney's back. I just love these characters in this world so much that just any piece of it that I can get, I will devour. So I really loved Vengeful, and if you are a big enough fan of Vicious where you loved the characters so much and just want to be back in that world, definitely pick this one up. The next book I'm going to talk about is the 8th book in the Outlander series, and that is Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon. Now, I have trudged through the whole Outlander series now. I'm finally caught up. This is a humongous series, so if you are intimidated by it and scared to start, I was definitely in your place and had just finally heard so many good things that I had to give it a try. I really do enjoy the Outlander series. I think Most of the books are a bit bigger than they need to be. I mean, all of them are definitely over 1,000 pages, so it's a really big investment that you're making with your time when you go into these books. But actually, the 8th book has been my favorite of the entire series so far, and that was surprising to me. I, first of all, didn't know if I was going to make it through the whole series, and second, the first has still remained kind of through my reading as my favorite, and so I was disappointed when I was reading these other books that weren't as good as the first, and then I finally picked up this one, the 8th, and I was like, oh my god, this is somehow better. So if you are willing to give it a try and pick up the first book and you absolutely love it and love the characters and love being in the 18th century with these characters, then definitely try and make it through the series. I will say that at times it can get pretty slow. Like, it's definitely been a struggle through some parts of this series because it's just so dense and so detailed. But if you can make it to the 8th book, oh my god, this, it's just my favorite. So again, Outlander, huge investment of your time, but if you enjoy the first book and love it enough to continue and get to the 8th book, you'll love it. The last book I'm going to talk about today as being one of my favorites of the year so far is This Is How It Always Is by Lori Frankel. Now this one I went in knowing absolutely nothing. All I knew was it was a contemporary, it was on Reese Witherspoon's book club, which I follow and really have enjoyed following, and that was it. That was all I knew. So going in, I loved not knowing what was going to happen. And so this follows a family where it's all boys in the family. It's this wife and husband who have, I think it's 4 boys, and then try again for a girl finally, but again it's a boy as their 5th child. So the 5th child, though, as he's growing up, you start to realize that he really loves dresses and he loves following princesses in stories instead of the princes, and you kind of start to realize this little boy is pretty special and he really wants to be a girl, and it's just about this family going through this with this character. And oh my god, I get emotional talking about it because it is so good and the family is so real, and this is something I haven't read about before, so it was something that introduced me to a transgender story, and it was so enlightening, so incredibly life-changing. It just, you sympathize so much and you just root for every character so much, and if you haven't read something like this or want to pick this up, you will not regret it. It's definitely going to be one of my favorites of all time. So highly recommend this one. It's an awesome summer read. It goes by like that. So yeah, definitely pick up This Is How It Always Is. So that's all I've got for you today. Those were my favorite books of the year so far. What are some of yours? Definitely leave some comments down below letting me know what your favorites of the year so far are. I'd love to check them out. And until next time, bye.